Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly commodities update. This is where we do analysis on natural gas, oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. We'll be looking at supporting levels as well as the most likely scenario price will likely head to for later next week. And if you guys are looking for the stock market update video, check out the video from yesterday where I did the Qs, S&P 500, as well as the Mag 7s. And let's get started with natural gas. So if your chart looks a little bit different than mine, make sure you click this B80 JHS contract gaps. So your chart will look like this. All right, so it looks like we got that scenario where we get the bear break and lacking follow through that we talked about last week or the week prior. So pretty much this 3.623 support right here was pretty much the support that everyone was looking at, right? Support, bounce, bounce, bounce multiple times, bounce multiple times again, bounce multiple times, and bounce multiple times. And this is where we got that last week bull break. 2 weeks ago, bull break from this downtrending resistance that we were looking together for multiple months. So reject, 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 and it finally broke out. We got a 16% move, and we topped out, double topped right here. So, and right now, where is it gonna likely head to? So we got this bear break. So if bears can hold this bear flag, let's see. Pretty much right now is right on the bear flag spot. So look at, so top of the move, right? We measure from top of the move to the bottom of the move, and this bounce is currently retracing 0.382, just means 38.2% of this move. So that means it's still a bear flag. So it can break above this yellow box, the bulls, and bounce above this 15% mark, then there's a good chance that bulls can recover this. But if we stay below the 50% range, bears are more in probability of that they can continuation of the downtrend. But for me, in my opinion, we got this little breakdown where it stops, flushed everyone's stop loss out, right? Everyone and their grandma's stop loss was right underneath this level. So it was very clear. You can see right when we break there, see on Thursday, you see all this volume coming in. You will have people piling on shorts and longs getting stopped out at the same time. That's what you get this look. But that being said, you got a pretty much a V shape right when it breaks. So this is why we call it a lacking follow through. Pretty much zoom in and see what happened, right? So this was the break, right in the morning. Broke pretty much right here. And there was the flush. You can see all this volume coming in, and that was it. So we call this pretty much lacking follow through because what you want to see is pretty much a big drop, right? And this is the bear flag right here, and then a follow through of the trend. But over here, you can see pretty much got negated and then V-shaped the whole thing on the same day, and then that was it, right? So this is what we call lacking follow through, and that's likely to just stop everyone out and then reverse. And we got, and then the bulls got follow through on Friday here. So currently, for me, I wouldn't really lean bearish here, especially after breaking this major support on this 3.6, and then we don't see any follow through. But that being said, bulls haven't changed the trend back to their favor yet, right? So we're still in bear flag territory, but so bulls need to make one more leg up. So if they can make one more leg up, like here to 3.8, around this 2.8, 3.9 zone. Ideally, it would be best if they can come up to this $4 range. And then, they form like a higher low and a higher high. Then they will have a good chance back to test this 4.3. This is where we broke out down from this double top. So that's what I want to see from the bulls. Break above that 50% mark and clear, try to clear this congestion of sideways area we've been trading for a couple months. Then that would potentially mark the monthly higher low. It can form like a solid daily uptrend here for me. Yes, so we zoom out to monthly. Right, talked about this one in a couple of my videos a while back. Huge monthly move, the first one ever in a couple of years, and now we have enough space to form a monthly higher low, right? This was a low. It's a big monthly move, even though we pull back like what 37%. We are still a monthly higher low at the moment. Um, so if we do form here, this would be the spot that bulls want to form the monthly higher low. If we go any lower, it's just going to become a tiny range. And so we don't want it to drop too much. Otherwise, it's going to give bears a lot of space for that lower high when we do bounce. So even if the bears get the monthly lower high from this move, right, we will still get a solid bounce, right? And then and lower. Yeah, bears already retraced like almost 70% of the move. So this could still become a tiny range, even if we come up here and we will, shy of this all-time high, not all-time high, 52-week high, and then we make a tiny range. We'll take it one step at a time. This is a monthly chart, so it'll take a really long time to form out. But this is the first time that bulls have gained this much space for them to form potentially a higher low on the monthly trend. Right, the last time they ever did this was over here. Big move up, gave back roughly 70% here as well, and then make a higher high. Right, that's a monthly uptrend confirmed. And ever since, right, since then we haven't really confirmed a monthly trend. So that's why when I talked about there's enough space, big enough move, this is why, because that gives the space even on pullbacks to form higher lows. All right, you guys got any questions? Feel free to comment below. But let's get moving on to oil. And feel free to like, share, subscribe, and support the channel on the Patreon link if you guys want to support the free channel. And let's check the oil. So oil, talked about this pretty much spot on. I said we'll likely, maybe two cases, we're gonna pop and drop because of the news. We're kind of like sell the news due to the size of the move that we already moved, right? We were what, up 30%, right? Anticipating that the geopolitical news and all that kind of stuff over the weekend, and even if it escalated, right? A lot of it was already priced in. So that's why I always stick to the price action. I think someone asked in the comments saying why I didn't talk about the news or anything, because the news is likely priced into the price action already, so you can see it, right? And yeah, essentially this marked the top when the news came out. Let's see, 78. Yeah, 78 would pretty much be like right around here. These resistance. So the first red flag for me, if you were long here and looking for a breakout, would be this triple top. So right when you break above it and you came right below it, then that's the first red flag of no follow through, just like natural gas, but the other way around, right? Break this quadruple bottom and then V shape into the other direction right away. So similar idea here, triple top, breakout, came right below. So if you were trading intraday that day and then you see it broke out and you're like, okay, you'll likely set a stop loss around below this resistance because you want to see active support when it does pull back. What you want to see when it breaks out is something like this: breakout, come back, back test, active support, and then bounce. But if you see a breakout flush below it, that's the first red flag you want to look at. Zoom in and see what it looks like. Yeah, this was the gap up, and it was already trending down overnight. You get that big flush below, and that was it. Yeah, so that was a bit of a red flag here. So right now, what are we looking at? Is pretty much bear flag. I don't even call this bear flag because it's not even flagging. Just, yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's just super weak bounce. Even if it comes up here, right? Let's say slowly grinds, then I would say, okay, it's starting to flag. But right now, it's literally just going sideways. Um, it's so weak that you can't even call it a bear flag. But yeah, so we are sitting right at support, right? This low, 64, is pretty much right these lows that we were forming over the past couple months. And I talked about this a lot where I said overall, oil is pretty much a sideways trade. If you zoom out, right, to the weekly, top of the top, bottom, right, is literally going sideways the last 2 years. So I said I wouldn't be surprised when it does pull back last week when it said that we were here. Yeah. So if we do break lower again from this puny bear flag, I'm looking back down here. So this is where we took like 2 months to break out. A lot of resistance here, right? At the 61, 62 area. Reject, 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 reject. And then we finally broke out. So if we break down from here, then this is the next major support that I'll be looking at around 64, 61 and 62 right here. And then we'll real likely bounce from here and then probably go sideways again for a while. And then we'll have to see how economic news and everything, right? If we have a recession, then you will see oil go below this guy. Right? It won't like, it'll probably like, we'll probably be looking at like, probably come back and back test this 51 and lower, depending on how severe the recession is. So if as we start approaching the recession, you'll see oil weaken. But for now, no signs of that yet, right? We don't want to predict too far, especially predicting recessions. Nobody's ever right. Everybody tries to do that for the last 4 years. It's tough. So we'll just keep looking at the price action. And for now, the 62 and 61 area is going to be the major support. If we do pull back from here, and for bulls, if we do bounce, then we'll be looking at 67.7 as resistance. And basically US dollar. All right, still breaking down, absolutely doing nothing. I keep adjusting this big megaphone. Let's see. Looks like it closes outside of it on this. Let's see if it closes. Yeah, even on the weekly. Yeah, it continues to weaken over and over. You can see the trend. Weekly trend is in a downtrend. Ever since weekly downtrend confirmed right here, we got a breakdown, another lower high, lower low, another lower high, and the lower low again. So we can say as long as weekly EMA 12, which is this teal looking line, is rejecting from the weekly time frame, then bears are in full control. But it's like pretty much a falling wedge kind of feel to it, right? Every time we make a new low, there's not much follow through, right? New low here, not much follow through. Broke the new low on Thursday, not much follow through yet, but it can still follow through because we haven't really reversed. So, but I personally don't think we're gonna have much downside here, right? Nobody's shorting down here really, unless there's kind of catalyst that comes in again. But if we do drop a little bit lower, we're coming down to this structure right here. So we'll be looking at around 96.8 to this 96 zone for me. Make another leg down. And for bulls, ideally, we want to bounce back. Right, next week if we come back to 98, then this would likely be like a lacking follow through. Right, we've been breaking down new lows, hasn't gone that much follow through. This is what you want to see when you break to a new low, right? These kind of huge follow through flushes. So yeah, so if it comes back to 98 to 99, then we're likely looking for that lacking follow through. But that being said, it's still making series of lower highs. right? Each time it bounces, it's making lower highs. So we want to see it break above at least one of these pivots, and potentially change the trend. So it'll be a win for the bulls if they can break above this 99.4, this pivot right here. All right, take a look at gold and silver. All right, let's start with gold. Okay, so gold just didn't break this resistance, very clear, right? Triple top here. Talked about this as well, that going sideways for the bulls is one of the absolute best cases as well, near all-time highs. Right? You make a, right, you zoom out, you make like a what? Let's see. Make a 42% move and you're just consolidating on the all-time highs, going sideways, consolidating through time is the best case. It's pretty much what gold characteristic of gold is, right? 20% move right here when completely sideways, right? Exactly similar price action to what we have right now, right? You can see all these triple tops. And the next thing you know, bears are trying to break it down here. It didn't work, Makes a higher low, higher high. Then we break out again. And there's another sideways. This side, yeah. So, yeah, so it looks good for, I mean, it's not like a short-term trader. Obviously, we've been going down for the last bit. But as long as it holds above this pivot for me, then bulls are okay. There's no huge red flags or anything. Obviously, we could get a big pullback, right? Consolidate on the weekly and the monthly charts. Right? If you zoom out, then it's no big deal, right? Let's say we get a consolidation on the monthly chart. Just say we get a bull flag here, right? We pull back, right? We come back to 33.211 again, right? And just go sideways here. That'll be the best case for bulls. But if we consolidate a little bit more, right? Pull back a little bit more to the 50% mark, then we may visit this 3100 area for gold. And if we do pull back even more, let's say we go to visit the 70% mark, we come back to test the 3000 level on this 2970, and this could become like a tiny range. So there's a couple scenarios on the larger time frame that could happen. At the moment, if bulls continue to hold above this pivot, which is right at 3,150, bulls are okay. Currently is right on support at the moment. Right, bounce here, and it's not really showing a big bounce, but it's holding at the moment. So first step for bears, break this 32.69, which is Friday's low, and then they'll have a chance to test this 31.50. They do that Monday and Tuesday, then they are creating enough space for a weekly downtrend potentially. Right, if they come all the way down here in one move, then they have a lot of space for that weekly downtrend. So keep an eye watch for next week, right? Let's say we get a red week next week for here. And then the following week, we get a weak bounce. That might be the initial red flag for your weekly traders. That more weakness might come, right? If you get a weak bounce on the weekly, confirm weekly downtrend here, we'll likely get more follow through. Yeah, because weekly downtrends don't happen that often, especially in a strong name. Yeah, so be cautious of that. But for now, no signs of that yet, but we'll see it coming. We'll do another analysis next week, see if that starts forming. But for now, we're just in like a small daily downtrend. So, all right, let's take a look at silver. See if its relative strength is continuing to hold. I would say so, right? You can see on these green days where gold goes sideways and silver is bouncing here. You can see all these lower wicks as well, kind of getting a little bit of more rotation at the moment. Let's see, that weekly bull flag still holding. Yeah, I mean, it's literally right on the tick of 0.382. On the move, the top of the move, pull back exactly 38.2%. And which this support also coincided with this uptrending support as well. So key statement for bulls, as long as bulls hold above this 35.53, they're in full control. And for bears, you want to break below this bull flag area, and which is last week's low. Yeah. The best case for bears is gold gets follow through on the downside and start breaking these pivots, and silver follows and gets to like a bigger percentage moves as well, and that will confirm a daily downtrend as well if this pivot breaks right here. So yeah, I watch on key pivot right here, very key. That breaks, the daily downtrend confirms, and this ugly looking head and shoulders also confirms. But yeah, head and shoulders is just an uptrend into a downtrend, even. So that would be a uptrend, right, into a downtrend if this pivot breaks. For now, silver is slightly relative strength to gold still. So if best case for bulls, gold goes sideways and silver continues to flag up. And then once gold breaks bull, then silver gets that bull flag breakout, making new all-time highs again. New 52 high, sorry. Yeah. Anyways, feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any questions, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys want to learn more about techno analysis, feel free to book that one-on-one call with me and check out the 15-minute free call as well if you guys got any questions. I'll see you guys next week for stock market updates and commodities. Have a great rest of you guys' weekend.